FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. It's October 9th, 2017. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day to all of you out there. And person you're about to hear from is coming from the sanctuary state of California. But first, questions, comments, email us at kl@kerrylutz.com. Joe Messina, the RealSide.com, is with us now. Joe, happy Indigenous Peoples Day.
You don't want me to throw up? You want me to start the show really throwing up?
Well, I'm serious.
Columbus Day, you know? I mean, well, although I got to tell you something. Here's for years, I can't tell you how long it's been. That's how long it's been. I can't tell you how long it's been. I've been making fun of Christopher Columbus. I said, look, what other Guinea do you celebrate that over 200 years ago made a wrong turn, ended up in the wrong place, and when he kept trying to find the right place, he still found the wrong place? And we celebrate him as a hero. You know, I mean, whatever. I mean, I just always found that quite amusing. But I find even more amusing that we're turning it into Indigenous Peoples Day. Well, Kerry, can you? I'm not a well-educated guy. Can you help me understand this? Because I don't get it. I am totally confused. Did they do something Did they do something in the first week of October that lends us any kind of notice?
You know, Joe. It's like you're not supposed to try to figure this stuff out. It's like just assume that anything that's an attack upon the culture and an attack upon the goodness of the country and its values is fair game. And whether it's Christopher Columbus or it's Jefferson or Washington or anyone else you can think of, the founding fathers, who most of which were slave owners, don't forget that, then it's fair game. It's fair game for these wackos to come after it. And the problem is they believe their own crap. And, you know, I'm writing an article right now called Disconnecting the Dots. And that's what the media does now. They disconnect the dots so that you have no context, no historical notion of why things got to where they are and how people thought things out, why they behaved in a certain way in different time periods. They're clueless. And therefore, they make the dumbed-down public clueless about it as well. At least that's their goal. But you should feel good because you're living in a sanctuary state where all peoples of all culture are welcome, whether they belong here or not.
Oh, you hit it right on you hit the nail right on the head, as they say. I just finished my piece asking the question: is California truly the true utopia? What the Democrats really want? And if you think about it, you guys only hear bits and pieces, but I mean, there's been an onslaught of laws against fair-minded, common-minded, sane people. First, you've got the sanctuary state law, where you have some sheriffs against it. Some sheriffs are for it. LA County Sheriff said, hey, it's going to make us safer. I don't know if this guy, I met him. I like him. He's from my home state of Massachusetts, which should be a hint right there. But I don't know what he's thinking. And then you go a little further. Now, if you knowingly have sex with somebody, you've got the HIV virus, and you don't tell them before you have sex, it's okay. You could no longer. It used to be that you were brought up on charges or something. I don't know exactly what the penalty was, but I'm sure they didn't put you to death, and I'm sure they didn't lock you up, right?
Oh, that was a big deal back then. I didn't hear of many people going to jail, but you certainly could be held civilly liable for it, which I guess you still can now. But there's something a little
there's
bizarre.
Nothing illegal about it. You have no right to tell anybody. You don't have to, because it's a medical condition that you shouldn't have to share with anyone.
Privacy rights, huh? Good old privacy.
Is that nuts?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
I got more. You'll need an oxygen tank for some of these. All right, so now your first year of community college will be totally free, and it doesn't matter what your legal status is.
Oh, that's nice. Why should anyone have to pay for anything? I mean, Bernie Sanders, I thought, was really onto something during the campaign. Look, he almost made it. He almost beat Hillary, and then he would have beaten Trump, according to all the pundits, right?
Yeah, but technically, Kerry, you and I both know that if she didn't cheat, he did beat her.
Yeah. I
mean, that's scary to think, but he did beat her because he had the votes. He had the vote count, and people were on his side. So yeah. I'm sorry. I'm as much as I I liked Bernie because you knew what you got with Bernie. He told you exactly what he was going to do and how he was going to do it, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just amazing.
Bernie. You mean Larry David's clone, right?
Go ahead.
I could never tell who was Larry David and who was Bernie. It was very difficult to figure that out. Mystery.
Perfect.
It will remain a mystery.
I wonder, do you think Bernie gets confused when Larry Stone's on TV? You think he sits there and goes, wait a minute, I didn't do that show?
Yeah, I think so. Bernie's not the brightest bulb in on the tree for certain, and the guy.
You're such a nice guy.
Look, the thing about being a liberal is never having to acknowledge history occurred, never having to acknowledge that you're experiencing life through your feelings, and never having to learn anything. Just you could be willfully stupid. I mean, what's better than that, Joe?
Listen, I'm listening to I shouldn't say listening. I'm watching these guys on TV, and they're talking about passing a law to make gun ownership illegal under certain conditions, and passing a law and we really what we do is need to get the guns just out of the hands of the general populace. And I'm thinking to myself, have we really raised that much of a group, that big of a group of idiots, of them not understanding that it's a constitutional right. It's not a law where a bunch of you boneheads got together and passed a law over a weekend that allowed us to have guns. They don't seem to understand the difference between a constitutional right and something that was written in law. They don't get it.
No, they have no idea.
That scares me. These are legislators.
Yeah, like as bad as Vegas was, and it was a horror show. Let's face it. I mean, just disgusting. Nonetheless.
Vegas was terrible, but why was it within hours? The blood, I know this is distasteful for some. The blood wasn't even warm yet.
I know.
Okay, forget the cold part, and they're out talking about gun control.
Yeah, because you never let a crisis go to waste, right?
Unreal.
It's exploitative. It's bad taste, and all of them were doing it. And then, who was it? Di-Fi, your senator there, I think this is her last term, hopefully.
God, I hope so.
She said, she admitted that none of these laws could have made any difference with Vegas. Something's really peculiar about Vegas. Look, I used to hang around casinos a lot for a while, for about 5-6 years, just hanging out, escapism, plain and simple. Let me tell you something. The guy supposedly... Stephen Paddock made in 2015 $5 million gambling. Now, Steve Wynn was on TV yesterday with Chris Wallace, and he said he was not a big gambler in terms of, he was a middling gambler, $100,
right.
$100 per hand of video poker. I know it sounds like a lot, but there's people who are betting tens of thousands of dollars. And for this guy to have made $5 million, it didn't happen. So he laundered money. It's really that simple. He was laundering something. He didn't make $5 million in 2015 off of his video poker winnings. Tell me another story. This is what I mean about the press, disconnecting the dots. This is what they do. They're just disconnecting the dots.
Well, but they're able to get away with it because of I'm pseudo trying to be nice about this, but they're able to get away with it because you've got a group of young people that don't have two IQ numbers to rub together.
Yeah, I know.
Two brain cells that actually function the way they're supposed to be. I'm not trying to be mean or crude or rude or any of that stuff that people are going to try to accuse me of, but come on, people, seriously. If you're not asking your kids, for the younger people listening, when your kids come home, ask them questions. What did you learn today at school? What did you talk about? Today schools are open here in California. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, so it's quote-unquote Christopher Columbus. I don't care what you call it, whatever you want to call it. Christopher Columbus Day. Something happened today. Something went down today. I would love, when my granddaughter comes home from school today, I'm going to head over there and talk with her. I want to know what she learned. I want to know what the teacher told her today.
That's a good idea. I like that idea. But, people out there, Joe, have given up. They've abdicated their involvement, their role in their children's education. That's up to other people to do, right? Nothing for you to be involved in. Man, well, it's because
nothing for you to be concerned about.
Yeah, right. Well, it's because the modern family, both parents work. So your kid starts out in daycare, and then you work your way down from there to public school. It's really quite distressing, and is a major reason for the demise of the family in America. And once the family goes, everything else, Joe, goes with it. Everything.
Well, Kerry, I got to tell you something. One of the things that I check out every year is they do these, Rasmussen and others do these polls to see who is the most respected person in communities, how small communities operate, who does what. And what scares the crap out of me, frankly, is the fact that the most and again, I have a lot of good friends in education, so let's not take this the wrong way. But the most respected person in a community is not the police chief, not the policeman, not any of that stuff. The most respected person in a community is the high school teacher.
Yeah. Well,
think about it. That scares me.
It is a bit frightening, but I understand it. But the high school teacher has evolved. He's now a union member with a union card, paying his union dues, but he's about to get a real wake-up call, at least his union is, because the Supreme Court's got a case in front of them now. The name eludes me, but the upshot is a public school teacher, I believe, sued the union and the state, saying, I don't want to be in the union, and a lot of states say you don't have to be, but you still got to pay your dues. I don't want to be in the union. I don't want to give them money so they can go use it in political causes that I don't agree with. And this was in there for when Scalia was judge, and he died, and then they sent it back 4-4. Now we've got our new guy, Gorsuch, in there. This is going to make a huge difference. It will be the demise of public unions throughout the country. It can't come soon enough.
Oh, in this light, you're right. And I know who you're talking about. She actually started here in California. Part of it was she sued the California teachers union. I mean, she sued the SEIU here in California because they wouldn't even show her the books. She's a union member, and she was asking for information as to how some of her money was being spent, and they wouldn't tell her. And they did everything they could to hide it from her. And even when there was, think about the spine. See, I was clean. The spine you have to have, okay? Yeah. When you have a court tell you have to show them that information.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And you still refuse to. You still just don't do it.
That's a fundamental right. They have to file them with the IRS. They get filed publicly. There's all sorts of websites, but they all file late, and then they amend because Hillary forgot that she got $1 billion from all these foreign guys out there who don't like gays or women, who kill them, stone them. She forgot about it, and they forgot to put it on the return. But all the tax returns are supposed to be there, and yet they forgot. So, so where does that leave us? I don't know.
Well, you know, the older you get, it's kind of tough. You can't remember things. Cut her some slack. And you're only on her because she's she's a woman, an older woman.
I wasn't aware.
Woman. That's the problem.
Oh,
right. That's what.
God, she checks a lot of boxes. A lot of boxes. Endangered species. Well, hey, so your guy Donald Trump there, he's in war with this guy Corker, and here's another perfect example of disconnecting the dots. We go back to Corker. Yeah. He single-handedly helped approve that horrid Iran treaty/untreaty. Right. So it never had to go through the Senate, which all treaties have to. But they knew if it was disclosed to the Senate, it would be shot down. It would never be able to get through. So they came up with some sleazy way of approving the deal without approving it. And Corker is pure establishment. He's been anti-Trumper from the beginning. And then he woke up one day and said, oh my God, I can't get reelected as senator of Tennessee. It's all Trump's fault. Wrote a book about Trump, berating him for stuff that even Trump probably never did. And now they're in a battle, and they say, but they need Corker's vote for tax reform. Look, it's like Corker is yesterday's news. Probably Menendez will be convicted of bribery within the next few days. He'll be booted out of the Senate. And then Chris Christie, in his last magnanimous act, will get to appoint a senator. And then we got Joe Manchin, who's been threatening to switch parties forever. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. It's going to be hard for these guys to not vote for tax reform. The way I see it, Joe. I got to tell you something. You and I have talked about this a million times, but there is nothing, and I mean nothing. I don't trust these guys. I wrote the piece back in 2014. Don't you love, and you interview a lot of people, but don't you love when you're interviewing somebody and they say, well, I said this here and I said that there. Yeah, that's called. I actually wrote about it. I wrote it in 2014. What? That's called being self-referential. So I do it all the time. I wrote about it. Yeah. I have
proof. I have it in writing where I said, look, we are not going anywhere unless we get rid of leadership. Old-time, old-school leadership. We will do nothing as a party. And where are we at today? What are we doing? We're doing nothing as a party.
But you do see what's happening here. Corker's gone. That flaky flake guy is probably going to flake out and not run again, or he's going to get slammed in the primary. What happened with Judge Roy Moore? Whether you believe, the guy might be a little extreme, although I don't see anything wrong with putting up the 10 Commandments at a courthouse. Our whole legal system is based on Judeo-Christian values.
Right.
And throw in a little bit of Hammurabi in the mix, and that's what you got, the American judicial system. So I saw nothing wrong with it, but he's become a lightning rod. And,
yeah, but who's he a lightning rod with, though? Come on, Kerry. He's a lightning rod with establishment as opposed to non-establishment, right?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
So I told people, I said, look, you go down there and you look at Moore. He was removed from the bench for sticking up for the 10 Commandments, and the people of Alabama voted him back in.
Yeah.
They didn't care what the Supreme Court said. They voted him back in, and then they found a way to remove him again. And I said, if you don't think that this man is going to get elected as a senator for that state, I don't know what you're drinking. I really don't. I don't, I'm not a well-educated guy. I could see it all over the place.
Oh, they're setting it up. Well, he's only 8 points ahead. He should be 30.
Only.
Trump won the state by 32 or 3 points. He's only 8 points ahead. We have a chance at this.
That.
That's like the Pajama Boy special election, right? Same thing.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, we only lost by 6 points. We must have done something right. We're doing something right because they're just not beating us by as much.
Well, look at the left jumping all over the fact that Trump went down there and, he touted the other guy and the other guy lost. Does that mean that Trump's power is slipping? No, what it means is what we have been saying, guys like you and I all along. The people are tired of politics as usual. They didn't vote for Trump because Trump was necessarily the right guy for the job. He was not a politician.
Right.
He wasn't going to do the party crap that everybody else is doing.
Correct.
And I think Alabama proved that they're not Trump followers. They're not Trumpites. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, hey. Well, look, let's face it. Trump's heart was not really in that endorsement.
No, you can tell.
Yeah, it just was not. I mean, he wanted more. And it was after McConnell said, we need you to go down there, Donald. And he said, all right, because otherwise we're going to have this wave of retirements because they know they're going to get taken out in primaries. You got Dean Heller in the great state of Nevada, and, you've got Flake. He's at risk. Who knows how long McCain will be alive? I'm not wishing him any quick demise, but I would wish him a happy retirement as soon as possible.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Happy retirement.
Any retirement by him is a good retirement. And you've got a bunch of these real establishment Chamber of Commerce Beltway Republicans who got to go. And if we could take out 5 or 6 of them now, I'm not saying that the replacements aren't going to sell out. That's always a possibility. But at least there's a chance, right?
Right. No,
So.
I am one of those guys that Ryan's got to go. I'm sorry, but Ryan's got to go. He's had the power. He's had the numbers.
Yeah, get rid of him.
McConnell got to go. They've had the power. They've had the numbers. They could have pushed so many things through in 10 months, and they're jerking around and playing around.
Yeah, that's just a game. And it's like, who wants to be the lone defeating vote? Oh, John, you want to get revenge on Trump for all the bad things he said about you? You'll be the dissenting vote here. And, that's just a game. Nobody's fooled by it. And that's why people despise politics and Mitch McConnell for good reason, besides the fact he has a weak chin, which is always a bad thing in politics. Probably a glass jaw as well.
Yeah, I've got friends in the California legislature, up in the California State House, and they tell me the same thing. They sit there and decide who's going to vote against or for something, depending on their constituents and how many votes they can afford to lose and how much fighting they're willing to do. And I'm going, my God, this is sick. This is like you sit down ahead of time and decide how the vote's going to go. And not that I don't know what goes on, but when you actually hear a legislator tell you how it's going to go down, it's scary. And it was funny because Sunday I was at a barbecue, and a very good friend of mine who's a legislator said, and coming from the East, you'll appreciate this. This is the first time that he's been talked to in such a nasty way by a union rep. And the union rep came in and told him how the vote was going to go down or that his bill was going to die.
Very nice.
And he said, I had to decide whether I was going to push through. He said, but I was stunned. Nobody's ever talked to me like that. I said, you should have done a stint in Boston politics first.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, think about it.
It's not for the weak of heart. Well, anyway, we got to get running here, Joe. So we find you at therealside.com. And what's your Twitter feed, by the way?
At Joe Messina or at The RealSide, whatever's easier for you to remember. But you can find everything at therealside.com.
All right. And you can send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. KL@KerryLutz.com. And that's KL@KerryLutz.com. Twitter feeds at Kerry Lutz. Facebook page is Financial Survival Network. Joe, we'll catch up with you again real soon.
Always a pleasure, Kerry. Thanks so much for having me.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.